Hello, and welcome to Ask the Supt. My name is Lindsey Askew from Southern Nash Middle School. Today I'm talking with Miss Angie Miller, Director of Athletics for Nash-Rocky Mount Public Schools, and Coach Robbie Kennedy, Athletic Director at Southern Nash High School. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Let's get right to the questions. Miss Miller, if you would, please help us understand the Director of Athletics.
Well, actually, my job is working with the athletic directors in the county with the overall administration and management of the sports programs to help to maintain the state and the local level regulations and guidelines. Also, with the coaches, I work with the coaches, the principals, athletic directors, with the facilities, eligibility, making sure that the students are eligible to participate, and any other aspects that they have questions about. I also work with the 6 through 12 health and physical education teachers in healthful living.
Thank you. This next question is for Coach Kennedy. Would you please tell us about the role of the school-based athletic director?
The way I look at our roles, we have 5 sections. First section is our students. I want to make sure that they're eligible, that they have the facilities they need, that they have the equipment they need, that they're able to succeed at our school. Our second thing is our coaches. Make sure our coaches understand the rules, regulations for being eligible. Make sure they go to classes to get updated on coaching procedures. Make sure they've got anything they need to be successful. The third thing is our facilities. One thing we look for at our school is to make sure our facilities are in great condition. They're always clean. And I do that. I try to walk around, make sure that, on game days, everything's cleaned up, the field looks good. The fourth thing is our community and our booster club. Try to make sure that our community knows that we're there for them. Our booster club raises money for our athletic department, so I kind of get with them once a month, make sure that if there's any questions, how we can raise money. And the last thing is working with Ms. Miller in the central office with our rules, regulations, the High School Athletic Association, to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Coach Kennedy, how do you think athletics help participants grow and learn both as people and as students?
I think athletics is great for high school kids. First, it teaches them time management. They have to be able to take 4 classes, have practice, have games. I'm the varsity basketball coach. Some nights we don't get home till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, so my guys have to be able to do their homework, get prepared for school. Number 2, it teaches them responsibility. We have practices some days when school's not in. On Saturdays, we may have practice at 6 o'clock at night, so they have to be able to be responsible to get where they're supposed to be, get their schoolwork done. 3, it teaches them teamwork. You have to be able to work with a bunch of different people with different personalities, and if you don't, you can't be successful. And the last thing to me, which is most important, teaches them hard work. We always tell our kids, if it's easy, it's not worth doing. We want our kids to work hard, and I think it teaches them a lot of stuff they can take with them for the rest of their life.
This question is for either of you. How does participation in athletics help improve academic development?
I'll take that question. Our students usually have a higher grade point average, better attendance records, and they have fewer disciplinary referrals, and lower dropout rates. So across the state, any athlete, our data and statistics are showing that athletics and academics are seamless because students have to work harder in the classroom to be able to participate in these sports. So we push the students. They have more hours that they have to participate in the activities. After school, they're on focus. We have a lot of study halls. We have a lot of time with the students so we can actually push them, and our coaches do a fantastic job keeping up with their grades and attendance. Very few absences with doctor's notes or anything like that, so we just push the kids to stay on focus and help them excel.
Ms. Miller, what would be needed to establish equestrian teams in Nash-Rocky Mount Public Schools?
This question was exciting because one thing that we really are excited about is at our high schools we have 31 different sports in Nash-Rocky Mount, and that includes our varsity, JV, male and female sports. And at the middle school level we have 16. Anytime we look at a new sport, we try to make sure that we have enough numbers to physically be able to have that team and have it considered a team. We also want to make sure we have the funding so that the teachers or the coaches can be a part of it, and the facilities to have it. So anytime we have an interest, and it's a great interest, we look into it and see if it's going to be feasible, and if there's any surrounding areas that we can participate and play against.
Coach Kennedy, if a student wanted to join the swim team at Southern Nash High School, What level swimmer would that student want to be?
I think for a swim team at high school level, they need to be at least a beginner swimmer. They need to be able to at least swim. In our area, there's not a lot of pools or places where the kids can go and practice, so we get a lot of kids that are brand new swimmers early. As long as they can swim, our coaches can kind of get them up to a level where they can compete. So we just, if they can swim, I feel like that's a good place to start for them.
Why do some middle schools and their corresponding high schools not always have the same sports?
I'll take this one. The only sport that I believe is like that is cross country. Cross country for high school is in the fall, and cross country for middle school is in the spring. And I think just the way the seasons are set up, we actually lose some kids from middle school cross country because they'll play football or soccer. And that's one of the things that our cross country coaches are working on, is trying to figure out a way to get more kids to do it. But other than that, all our seasons correspond with each other.
What's the best way to get started in sports that aren't available at the middle school?
Well, actually, as I said a few moments ago, we have to look at the numbers. I do know for Southern Nash Middle School, they've been wanting to get a tennis team. They have sign-up sheets, and we just haven't had the large enough interest. I will say facilities is sometimes an issue. A lot of your sports participate at the high school level, and they have welcomed the tennis to participate at the high school level. If we have the numbers, we'll put that team in place. We do have one of the largest set of teams in different sports in this area for our middle schools. We have 16 different sports, and that's wonderful. We don't have track and field. I think there's been some interest there. That's because we don't really have anyone in our area or region that participates at the middle school level. Swimming facilities is an issue. We all share one pool. It's a large expense, but along those lines, it's a big expense for the parents to get the kids to and from those facilities and be able to participate. 3 counties share the same swimming pool for all meets, so it can be a little bit excessive. We always, again, look at the numbers. If we have an interest from the kids, no matter what the topic area is or the sport, we're going to look to try to be able to include that.
As we have learned, Coach Perry is Coach of the Year for Nash County Schools. Ms. Miller, can you explain how the winner is determined and what this award means?
Yes, I'll be glad to. Coach Perry was nominated by his fellow coaches and different coaches in our entire county, Nash-Rocky Mount Schools. So that involves all of our 6 middle schools and our 4 high schools. This actual award was started by a Dudley Whitley family. He was one of our former Rocky Mount High School athletic director. He was also a teacher and a coach. He became an assistant principal and a principal, athletic director. He worked as a special assistant to the superintendent, and assistant superintendent. So after he passed away, his family wanted to have something in his honor. He was a very, very strong role model, and they wanted someone that gets this award to be someone that has good sportsmanship and really pushes the kids to excel. So when this began, actually in 2010, Southern Nash High School was the first coach to ever receive that award, and it was Brian Foster. And since then, your school was the first middle school that was ever nominated and got to win this award. So it's a huge honor. The family chooses them from a large pool of candidates across this entire county at the middle and the high level. And what's really exciting is we've actually had some coaches from other schools nominate different coaches that are outside of their actual school because they've stood out.
How many times has Southern Nash Middle School won the award for sportsmanship, and what qualities would make a school a front runner for this award?
Southern Nash Middle School has won 7 times. It's a great award to win. It's based on sportsmanship, and it comes from nominations from the entire Nash-Rocky Mount Schools middle school program. The coaches at the end of each season get to nominate a standout group of kids and coach during that sports season that has done a phenomenal job as encouraging, showed citizenship, and teamwork and sportsmanship. So they've won 7 times. Your spring sports tend to stand out in looking at the data. The spring of 2013, spring of 2012, spring of 2010, and spring of 05 are your spring sports that have stood out to win the award. We've had a few winter and a few fall in the midst of that, but your spring sports have done a fantastic job.
Coach Kennedy, to participate in sports at the high school, when should 8th graders have their physical? And should that physical be turned into the high school or the middle school?
What I always tell our kids is best time to get a physical is in the summer, between June and August 1st. That way it's good for the entire athletic school year. We like for them to be turned into us, so we have them on file. If a kid gets a physical at the middle school, The athletic director actually gives me the physicals at the end of the school year, and I'm able to go through them and cipher them. But to me, the best time is in the summer. That way you're good for fall, winter, and spring sports.
Ms. Miller, I have 2 questions about the Special Olympics. First, do Nash-Rocky Mount students participate in the Special Olympics? And second, if students wanted to volunteer, how would they go about doing that?
That's a great question. We do participate seasonally with our Special Olympics. Our students participate in all 3 seasons. We just had our winter season just recently at Wesleyan College. We have a lot of volunteers from our county, from both ends of our county, but to do that you have to have a sponsor at your school. Our contact for our district office is Lisa West. She works in our Exceptional Children's Program. We do have a contact also at the city that helps organize this because it's a huge undertaking. We have a lot of clubs that participate. Some of our students actually drive over and participate for the day because they take a lot of volunteers. So anyone that's ever interested, if you get a sponsor at your school, you can contact Ms. West. The school usually has to fund the transportation piece if the students aren't able to drive, and then they work out the schedule individually.
That is all the questions we have time for today. I want to once again thank my guests, Miss Angie Miller and Coach Robbie Kennedy, for joining me today. I'm Lindsey Askew from Southern Nash Middle School. Please join us next time for Ask the Supt.